Hey guys, I am here with my brother-in-law, Rob of Primal Pastures, and we are at the farm where we source cows for our tallow that we use in our products. And we've actually been driving around this farm for hours now. It's 200,000 acres, and it's hard to find the cows because there's just so much pasture here.
Yeah, we started about 9 o'clock. It's noon now. We've seen cows in the distance. We try to get up to them, and every time we get up to them, they take off. The landscape here is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you want to come over here and
grass everywhere.
Take a look at this, but one of the spots that the cows typically love is hanging alongside the river here. So we're hopeful that something's going to pop up shortly. But this is where tallow starts. This is where the cows graze, spend their life. They're out here, open range, just eating tons of grasses and getting that healthy suet that we eventually turn into tallow for you guys.
Can you explain what suet is?
Yeah, so suet, specifically what we use is the fat around the kidneys, heart, and pancreas. And so that's the cleaner fat with a much softer smell, and it's much better to work with for beauty products like yours.
More nutrient dense.
Much more nutrient dense, yeah.
So when I started using tallow in Primally Pure products, I actually wasn't even sure if it was something that people would like catch on to in the beginning, because I was really interested in tallow based on how it's been used ancestrally since the beginning of time, really. Before like chemical-based ingredients came on the market, people were using tallow to moisturize their skin. And I just loved this and thought it was so cool. It's so similar to our skin's own sebum. It even means sebum in Latin, but I wasn't sure if people would get it. And now, 10 years later, lo and behold, tallow is like a trending, popular ingredient, which I never could have predicted. But back in the day, I was rendering it myself from suet from Primal Pastures cows. I couldn't keep up with the rendering process on my own, and so we started sourcing from other farms. But now I'm so excited because Primal Pastures launched their own line of tallow, and now we're using Primal Pastures tallow again in our products. So can you talk a little bit about why Primal Pastures tallow is so good, what sets it apart in terms of nutrient density, how the cows were raised, all of that stuff?
One of the things that is super important to us at Primal Pastures is quality. And so we've never wanted to grow so fast that we lose track of the quality of the product. And so what we do is we make sure that if we're sourcing our tallow or if we're raising it, we have our cows outside their entire life. They're on fresh pasture. They have miles and miles to graze. Like you saw today, we drove for 3 hours just to find cows so that we could see them. We're on 200,000 acres here in Montana, and so these cows have tons of land to roam, and in that they have tons of grasses to consume, and in doing that, they're able to create for us a super healthy suet that we can provide for you. And one thing that I'm super excited about is the nutrient panel that we got back. We tested 3 separate grass-fed tallows. We didn't even bother with conventional tallow because we know that the omega-6 ratios and the fat content is going to be so off on those.
Yeah, abysmal.
Oh, it's terrible. And so what we got those results back. You and I were just discussing them. Basically where you want to be with a healthy omega-6 to 3 ratio is 3 or 4 for your omega-6s to 1 on your omega-3 panel. And so ours came in at a 3.5 to 1 ratio, where the others were closer to their omega-6s were between 7 and 8 to their omega-3, which was at a 1. So
which is super imbalanced.
Super imbalanced.
And omega-6 in excess can be pro-inflammatory, whereas omega-3 can be really anti-inflammatory. So that ratio is super important in the fats that we consume and in the fats that we're putting onto our skin cells. If you want healthy skin, you have to use healthy fats and to have that ratio be in balance, because that's really gonna be protective against inflammatory skin conditions like acne, eczema, psoriasis, all that stuff. Okay, we finally found some of the cows. They're back here in the distance. And these just look like the happiest cows I've ever seen. What did the farmer say to us? That the cows only have one bad day?
One bad day their entire life.
Yeah, and that's the day that their life ends.
Right.
But their entire life is spent out here.
Out here lost. It honestly seems like they haven't even seen a human before, the way they're looking at us now. But it's just a testament to how much land these animals have to graze and the lifestyle that they have. I mean, for us to spend as much time as we've been driving over, 200,000 acres just looking for the 10,000 cattle that are out here, and you look back at there and you see them grazing, just happy as can be, super healthy hides. It's just a testament to the way these animals are raised.
In terms of the ethical nature of consuming meat and using animal-based products, talk about that. Like, what does nose to tail mean? Why is it important to use every part of the animal? And how are we doing that with the cows here?
Yeah, it's super important. I mean, if you're going to take a life to sustain a life, you should get as much out of that animal as you possibly can. And that's what we do at Primal Pastures, and we really emphasize that. So nose to tail, we're trying to use everything that cow has given us. And that's the way our ancestors did it forever. And so it's super cool where you have products like, the suet, where they may not have been used that much in commercial agriculture, but to have companies like you that produce super clean products to be able to use our suet as we turn it into tallow, and then be able to sell the organ meats, which are extremely nutrient dense. I mean, you have beef liver, which is what I think is nature's multivitamin. It's one of the most healthy, nutrient dense foods there are. And so to be able to go everything from the beef cheeks down to the tail, and we're using the fat, the organs, the meat, all of it, and then the bones for broth. You're using that entire animal and you're not wasting any of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important in the regenerative cycle, to make sure that you're being responsible with how that animal is consumed.
Yeah, it's the best way to honor the life of the animal. It's what our ancestors did, and to just pretend that we as humans can remove ourselves from the cycle of life and not consume animal products and think that we're being more ethical is a total myth, because of everything we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap. It's been so fun to be on the ground at the ranch where the cows are raised that we use to produce our tallow. Tallow is such an incredible ingredient, and it's so cool to see it finally getting the attention that it deserves in the mainstream. I'm really proud that we've been using this ingredient since the beginning for the last 10 years now. I hope you guys liked this video. Be on the lookout for more content like this in the future about where our ingredients come from.